Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the September 26th Waynesboro Area School District Board meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's start this evening with roll call.
Ms. Harold?
Here.
Ms. Straight? Here. Mr. Marvin?
Here.
Ms. Sullivan?
Here.
Dr. Royer?
Here.
Ms. Fortney?
Here.
Ms. Miles?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
And Linda Zimmerman is absent today.
Thank you. Can we get a motion for the approval of tonight's agenda?
Move to approve the agenda.
Second.
Okay, any additions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we move to, do we have a motion for the approval of our minutes from our September 12th meeting?
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay, one abs-
1 second, please. Sorry, was the motion made on the approval of the minutes? And who was first motion?
Mr. Marvin.
Second?
Me.
Okay, the vote's been open for that.
Okay. So we move to a superintendent's report. Dr. Sternad?
Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, I already told Mary that I will allow her to provide all the updates regarding homecoming. So I just want to report that all our buildings have completed a series of safety drills and weather-related drills during the month of September. From all accounts, from our police force as well as our principals, they are very satisfied with how the drills were conducted. And again, it's one of those things that we have to do from a precautionary perspective. We also had and hosted a family community night at the Waynesboro Senior High School. We had, I believe it was about 10 agencies as well as 4 guest speakers to talk on various topics that we felt that as a result of some family input, they wanted some additional discussion. Also, WAMS hosted a technology night that specifically highlighted Chrome use, Chromebook use, as well as Schoology. And so that was another outreach that we offered for our families. And I believe, Mary, are you going to announce the name of the WASH's, the other WASH's student representative? Do you know who that is? Or, all right, do I do that now? Okay, thank you, Dr. McCallum. So I'm happy to announce that at our next board meeting, Alexis Kearney will be joining us along with Mary as our WASH's student representative. So welcome.
Okay.
Alex,
Yes, welcome, Alexis.
you're not here yet, but sorry.
All right, thank you. We have public comment tonight. We move to that section of the agenda, and we have Cassandra Ward. Please state your address for us. Yes.
Cassandra Ward, 206 Homewood Avenue. And I really don't want to be here and have to talk about this, but please forgive me for the language I'm about to use. It's regarding some library curriculum or content. Stop me whenever you've had enough. On the website to try to find the Follett website. And we were told after the town hall meeting just because it's listed on the website doesn't mean it's necessarily in the library. So I had my son check it out to make sure that it was actually in the library. So I know that it would be nice for us to be able to actually get a tour of either the high school library, the middle school library. There's also one in the middle school that is about autistic children. My daughter is an autistic child, so this one kind of, it's called Ellen Outside the Lines, and it does say that it is in stock. Ellen, an autistic 13-year-old, navigates a new city, shifting friendships and a growing crush in her queer and Jewish identities while on a class trip to Barcelona, Spain. My daughter has enough time being confused about different things in the world that I don't need these types of confusion being added to it. So it would be nice for us to know what's there. After reading that, it just makes me sick that they can say, God bless that man for being able to teach you that. For some of us that actually care about our faith, that confuses our children as well. So I want to know what the policy is for selection of library material, how it's approved and purchased, and by who. Are they selected by the state, the district, or at a county level? Are they automatically selected? If there's a way that we could do a policy discussion of some sort on how that goes, where graphic and sexually explicit or violently sexually explicit books could be housed separately in their own location, so that parental permission could be required to check out books of that nature. General summary of books will not necessarily tell you the graphic nature of a book, while CDs, movies, things like that all have labels for graphic content. They all have warning labels, and I'm not advocating for book banning, but transparency with the education material that's available to our students, because not all students mature at the same rate. Some of the material that is expressed is expressing sexual immorality in a glorified way. And our children see that more and more on a regular basis with social media and things like that, that I think leaving it out of our school libraries would be an important discussion to have. I should be able to have a say in the exposure that my children receive in an educational setting, where it now seems to be more important than our basic curriculum. The whole child experience or system that's being implemented, it doesn't include one's soul or one's spirit. It includes mental health, behavioral health, and things like that. But for those of us that want to get to the root of our children's problems, we come back to their soul. We're tired of the state being able to determine what a whole child is, while leaving out for us the most best and most important part of that child, while we're promoting even more confusion within our children, and then wonder why they have issues with mental and behavioral health. So why is it okay to expose kids to this material at such a young age, sanctioned by our own educational department, and nobody really wants us to question it? If we desensitize kids to sex at an early age, it makes it easier for predatory behavior to occur. And I know myself just saw a movie, I believe some people in this room have seen it, and it shows that it's growing and it's everywhere. Just because you're in a small town doesn't make it any less of a problem. And if they don't know how to recognize that predatory behavior because they deem it as normal, will I read about it when I'm 13, or, things like that. We learn about it in a manner that makes it okay. It's hard for them to determine what's right and what's wrong, especially if an older, more sophisticated person that's charismatic comes at them with these types of behaviors. So I will send you copies of and emails, all of the paperwork that I have on that as well. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And what was the name of the first book that you mentioned? Okay, all right.
What year was that book written? 2012.
Yeah, and I think it's been in our collection since 2013. And I did some research as well, and it was checked out 9 times according to our computer. So I don't know if there's,
Oh, yeah.
I didn't even know we use those anymore, so.
Mhm.
But thank you.
Thank you. All right, let's move on. And let's go to student board report.
Hola. So last week there was a pep rally at the high school. I personally was not there. So if you want more information, you have better chance asking Dr. McCallum. But whoops, my bad. But the homecoming court was announced and I heard that people had a lot of fun and it was really enjoyable. But this week there has been tickets selling left and right, even in my lunch, which is pretty deserted. There's still people lining up all the way out the door, it feels like. So there's gonna be a lot of people and I'm really excited for it. And I'm also excited to go to the football game this Friday because, it's the football game before homecoming. What's not to have fun? What's not to like? But there was recently a club meeting for all student leaders of each of the different clubs and washes. There's currently over 30 active clubs at washes,
Wow.
and there are 3 currently seeking approval. The German club is hosting Oktoberfest on October 5th, and board members are invited to attend. And if you want any of the paperwork or anything else, you can email me and I'll figure it out somehow. The clubs and teams and the organizations of washes will be hosting Trunk or Treat on October 21st from 5 to 7 for the area youth. The class of 2025 has created a donation fund that is going towards the disabled American veterans for the Field of Flags. The FCA is hosting a prayer rally at the flag next Wednesday on the 27th, right before school. It starts at 7 a.m. The Quiz Bowl, Brain Busters, and PA Math Leagues are beginning to start up. I think the first competition for PA Math League is sometime next month. And I'm in that, so I'm excited for that. But that's only because I like math and I get other people who don't like math. But I'm also excited for Quiz Bowl and Brain Busters because it's fun, random facts, and Brain Busters I'm pretty sure will be televised. And I think last year our team got on TV and went to regionals or states. I can't remember, but that's all. There hasn't been a lot, but only really exciting thing is homecoming. That's about it.
We're at prayer ride, that's tomorrow.
Yeah, sorry.
All right, thank you, Mary.
Thanks,
Right.
Mary.
And now we move to board reports. Let's start with the policy committee. Anything from policy? Okay, academic committee.
Academic committee met last week. Talked about some issues pertaining to the high school. Talked about a little bit about sportsmanship at our sporting events. And expected behavior and that kind of thing that we'll talk about. And also the clubs that are going to be presented for approval tonight. We had student presentations on those. Very well done by those students.
Okay. Facilities, anyone?
We had facilities last week. One of the things to report is we've been able to see at the beginning of the year, the maintenance facilities team cleared over something like 260 tickets, which if we go back, that's about the same amount that they've been clearing for the past several years. So it has to do with the influx of teachers coming in. So a big thank you to Mr. Adams and his team for, obviously something that's kind of trackable and measurable. 250 of anything is impressive, but when you have folks, trying to get school started and teachers in classrooms, I think that's much to be commended there. Things have been winding down from all the summer projects, but a couple more things to do to wrap up some of our summer projects. And then, funny enough, we're starting to plan for next summer. As it relates, this will be the last summer which we can use ESSER funds for any facility projects. So we do have some projects on the docket for the summer. However, just as a kind of an FYI, we're gonna start to tail back some of our capital projects because ESSER funds are expiring. So we can use them, I believe, through September of next year. That funds, they've done a lot of good for our district, but they are going away.
Okay. And budget?
And
Back to
budget
you.
will meet for the first meeting on October 9th here in this room. It'll be our first meeting. If you're excited about Excel sheets, I invite you to come out. Some of us work in Excel sheets all day and we get excited about them. And so we just want to share the joy. But it'll be very, as Dr. Holtzman likes to say, the very, very preliminary budget for next year. So,
Some of us on the team don't get excited about the Excel, but
well, you know,
we still come.
it's time to broaden our horizons. We're all about learning and growing here in the school district, and that's one way we can do it.
Yeah. All right, and so once again, let me always say, all of those meetings are open to the public, and they're, I think the list, the schedule's on the website, on the county website. So always open to the public. Okay.
I have one.
Yes.
So I went to the Franklin County Learning Center meeting and it was the audit presentation and just really, no findings related to the audit and increased fund balance in the capital reserve fund. The revenue about 1.1 million. And for a total of 1.5 million comes from the districts. They're continuing to work on cost cutting. If anybody wants more information, I got a bunch, but that's kind of the overview. They really do run a good school. They really do. Yeah.
Thank you.
Just a comment, audits that have no findings are good things.
Yes.
And so especially in large organizations where there's a lot of inflow and a lot of expenses for an audit to have no findings, that's very commendable.
So first item of business is student waiver. Do we have a motion to approve this
Move to
student waiver?
approve. Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Move to personnel, so. Dr. DeShawn.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Yeah, so we have a couple things we want to put before you for approval. The first one is for professional staff. It's Melanie Murray. She is if you look at her a brief synopsis of her resume and her experience, she definitely a value added hire. From teaching to being an instructional coach to also her administrative experiences. We're recommending her. She does have her doctorate also, and we're recommending her to be a seventh grade science teacher at WAMS. There's a number of reassignments and changes in hours that you'll notice there. We also have a list of folks we're asking for approval for before and after school program staff. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe these folks I think this is the ESSER, some of the ESSER money also at the middle school in Hooverville. And then we also have 2 resignations of the professional staff, one being speech and health and PE. We thank them for being with us. And then we're also asking for approval for a number of other para educators to be approved this evening. And we do thank these folks again. When you get out there in the buildings and you see these folks working alongside the teachers and supporting students, we do appreciate the work they do for our district.
The motion is to approve the personnel as listed.
Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's go to band bus drivers, Dr. Holzman.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So we have some district drivers and we have contractor drivers. They go through a process where we go through checking credentials to make sure that they have those appropriate items and also do an insurance check on them as well. So we're asking for approval of them as drivers.
Okay, so the motion is to approve the bus van driver list.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
What agenda tonight, folks? Move to. Sorry, yeah. 23-24 school-based juvenile probation agreement.
That would be me.
Dr. Stern.
So it's just the annual agreement with Franklin County Juvenile Probation Program. The information is listed there in the board docs, and it's just a continuation of a partnership that has been in place for a number of years. So recommendation is to the agreement as listed.
Okay, we have a motion to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Any questions for Dr. Stern? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And student clubs. Dr. DeShawn.
Yeah, you want to do that, Mrs. Harold? So the clubs are,
Do I get to talk? I could do it.
hey, why don't you go ahead, Mrs. Harold? I wasn't there for the club proposal anyhow. You were there for the club
That's right, you
proposal.
were there for that part. Okay, so we had 3 student presentations concerning the clubs, which are, as you can see, gardening, weightlifting, and German National Honor Society. All of them, I think, have merit. All of them had details and filled out the requirements for officers and bylaws and things like that. If you would like to take a full look at those, they are available. The gardening club has to work out specifically location, and they realize that. Of course, I kind of asked them a couple of questions, how are you going to do this and how are you going to do that? They all were prepared with their answers. So they would be great additions to the high school. Humble opinion, but since I was there with one other member, I don't know if I could say it's recommended, but I thought they were great.
I'll add my recommendation.
Okay, there we go.
All right, so the motion is to approve the student clubs as listed. We have a motion.
Move to approve.
And second.
Okay, any questions, for Karen? or-
No questions, I guess just a comment. I know some of these don't have dues, but I hope for our clubs that we try to make, if there are dues, we try to make it so all students who want to participate are able to participate, so. I
Yeah,
know,
these clubs, the advisors are not going to be paid advisors, and any materials they would need, such as the gardening club, they're planning on doing fundraisers.
good, so I think having multiple student clubs in various areas, I think is great for our school and for our students. I just want everyone who wants to participate not be limited by funds.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And the Cradler Scholarship. Dr. Holzman.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So we had a really great discussion about this at the last board meeting. We wanted to give you some time to look at it and understand what the company was requesting. So effectively, this is a trust. It was called a scholarship. It really was essentially a non-interest bearing loan is how this was kind of structured at that point. So effectively, what would happen is the funds were split between our school district and Clark County High School. Individuals could go ahead and basically request a loan for a period of time while they were in school, and then they had to pay that loan back interest-free, starting 2 years after they had graduated. There's been no activity against this for over 10 years now with either school. So M&T, who holds the funds themselves, they are effectively holding it in trust. What they have requested is basically to dissolve that trust and split the funds, giving them to Clark County as well as Waynesboro. We would not be beholden to the same set of rules, though. We could go ahead and have our set of rules would be basically just to go ahead and issue it like a true scholarship. So we would not do it as a loan. We would hand it out as a scholarship. We'd have to work through a process as to how that would be determined. Obviously, I think there probably would be a general idea to follow the direction possibly of the will, but there's not a requirement to necessarily follow that. We did contact the solicitors that are representing M&T. Clark County has approved it as well on their side. So I think that was something was one of our concerns, because if they're not approving it, it really doesn't matter. If we do not approve this, what happens is they have to go through the court system to basically have a complete review of all the financials on their books before they dissolve it. Their concern is that would eat up a significant portion of the $70,000 over a period. There is a slight bit of risk. Our solicitor did mention to us that there's a slight bit of risk because we're basically indemnifying that bank and their solicitors from any problems or issues. However, it has been 10 years. We're assuming that there probably is not too many issues out there. It is a slight potential risk, but I think we are aware of it and probably cognizant of that issue potentially that could happen. So anyway, based on all of that, our recommendation is to go ahead and approve the agreement. Based on that, then we would receive those funds and be able to go ahead and create a process with the high school on creating a scholarship.
There a motion,
To approve.
Second.
questions?
I think just a question for Dr. Holtzman is, have you started having discussions of where this money is eventually going to land? Obviously, it's not coming tomorrow, but.
Correct, right. Initially, it would probably land on our lap just simply because we would be the beneficiary of that. But if there is a goal or a desire to put that into one of the organizations that represent the community, we could certainly visit that with the solicitor and see what that mechanism looks like.
Okay, great. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I know we have, groups such as Way Back in the Beneficial Fund who held funds and distributed those in scholarships as well.
Right, any other questions for Dr. Holtzman? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So now we're down to the comprehensive plan.
It's been a joint effort. I began the process and Dr. Deshawn essentially finished it up. And so we're in the process of essentially just having the discussion this evening. It's there for your review and following the discussion, if there's any changes, what we'll do is we will have it posted on our website. We will make hard copies available as requested. We will make them available to the library and get the information out to the general community for a 28-day review. And I don't know, Dr. Deshawn, if you wanted to add anything.
Thank you. I had the joy actually when I left. When I entered Portage, the prior superintendent there said, "It's due. It's due, but don't worry. Just tell them you're new, and they'll give you an extension." Well, when I asked for an extension, they said, "No, you don't get one. It's still due in September." So I had the opportunity to do it at Portage before I left there, and then when I came, Dr. Sternheim graciously turned it over to me and had the opportunity to follow through with that. And we did have our meeting last Monday evening, and we had a nice turnout, and we appreciate everybody who participated in that. From the community to our faculty and staff. So we appreciate all the work, effort, and energy that went into that from our building administrators and teachers and community members. And so thank you very much. And board members too.
Okay, and this item is just for discussion. Any questions for Dr. Stern?
I just read it again. We've been working on it for quite a while and
Yeah, we started last fall.
I thought it was really well done and I really like how everybody was included in putting it together, community members included. Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
So it was really a very much a joint effort.
So it would be back on for final board approval then on the 24th.
Yep, and it definitely does a good job of outlining goals for, what is it, 23, from 23 through 26. So by the year 26, they put some specific goals for student achievement as it relates to math and ELA, language arts. So it's, one of the things we could kind of help to measure the progress of students, and also measure the effectiveness of some of the programs that we have implemented, especially some of those that are helping with students with IEPs and our special needs students as well. So thank you for your work on this. Okay, we move to action item, and that's property assessment change, Dr. Holzman.
Yes, sir. And if it's all right with you, we'll do 1, 2, and 3, or we can skip them
Sounds
separately. Okay, thank you, sir. So we just have a couple items. We have a property assessment change. This was approved by the county. Sometimes what happens is if a organization that was tax exempt sells their building, possibly to another organization, or, a parent organization goes back and forth, it becomes taxable again. So they actually have to appeal to have that set up again as non-taxable. So, and again, this is a local church, so obviously that's the recommendation, is to go ahead and put that back into a tax exempt status. And we also have purchase orders for cafeteria, general fund, and requisitions. And finally, a repository sale, and this is for an item that just could not sell in any other manner. So the purpose of this is to sell it for a nominal fee, just to put it back onto the books as a taxable asset.
Okay, so the motion is to approve our items under financial business, items 1, 2, and 3. Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Okay, wow, short agenda tonight. Outstanding. Okay, let's see. Now we move down to Clayton Cabinet comments.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to share with everybody, speaking of community, I had the opportunity for the first time this morning to eat breakfast at the Parlor House. And it was at 6 a.m. So it wasn't, but it was work related too, even at 6 a.m. But I have to commend the Parlor House. He did a fantastic job, and you can't beat the price for the breakfast you got. And the sausage is actually pretty good. I also worked with Mrs. Harold and some others. I had a little car accident with my wife, and we're using community resources. I understood that the Shockey brothers were the ones to go to. But I won't tell you which one I did. I just went to one of the Shockey brothers. They said that they're really good, and they fix cars really good. So I'll let you know about that. I want to piggyback on what Mary shared about too. I had the opportunity to be at the pep rally and on Friday afternoon with Dr. McCallum and Washes, as well as at Wham's earlier over lunch. And you might have saw some of the pictures when all the principals were silly stringed, or I don't know if you say that correctly, silly string or silly strung. But I just want to commend them, and also just piggybacking on the clubs and the activities. I don't know if anybody had the opportunity to actually be around the building at the end of the day. But as Mary said, the number of clubs that our Washes has is really exemplary. I mean, the idea of just going into the library, Miss Beatty and the kids in there, and the learners, students, and the gaming and all that. I mean, it's just it's so cool to see how much activity and the connectedness that is going on with our student body, and that happens because of those clubs, people willing to do that, setting those up, and the leadership of those people doing that, Dr. McCallum, Mr. Bigler, Dr. Kopko. So we appreciate that, as well as just being around this afternoon, the cross country meet, field hockey going on. There's volleyball going on. The band's out there practicing, and a lot of good stuff happening going on. And it's so cool to see. the silly string and the, just all those clubs too. I mean, I just want to tell you that those Dr. McCown, the principals and the admin being visible in front of their whole student bodies, showing their humanness and being out there. And again, that creating that connectivity within the student body, both at Williams and Washes, is extremely valuable. And we really appreciate all that they do. And I know our elementary folks are doing the same with a variety of different activities and things too. So just want to share that appreciation. So.
Thanks for sending out I know everyone on the board received their invite to, I think it's National Education Week. Invited everyone to come visit the school. So board members get a chance to go in and kind of see the works that are going on.
Yeah, we're looking forward to having that time together. So it'll be good.
All right. Any other comments? Board, any comments from anyone on the board?
I have a comment.
Yes,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
know until a couple weeks ago that any member of our community that is 65 years old or older can come in here to Clayton and get a pass to get in free to the home football games. And, you know, we get beat up sometimes for not thinking of our senior citizens, but you know, if you want to go.
Sports.
All
correct?
sports,
It's
all
all
sports,
sports.
okay.
You have to have your ID and you have
Yes,
to
you
be
have
a
to-
resident.
Right,
of the-
resident of the school district, but,
Absolutely. Mhm.
but yes, you know, you can get into the all sports free or any sports. So. Did you get one? I didn't know it until a couple weeks ago when I was in here, so.
I'll buy you a hot dog Friday night, Miss Harrigan, at the game.
The loaded baked potatoes are the
Yeah.
best thing that they've got.
There's walking tacos, I believe, so.
Go ahead.
I just wanted to make a comment, since we don't respond during public comment, about what you brought up, Ms. Ward. We get the library, we got all the library books that were bought this year that Dr. Shong sent us. And you're right, I can look at titles, but I don't always know. Now, in past years, there have been titles or things I've looked at more further and, you know, we've discussed it. Usually it's not of the nature that you are speaking of. It's more like age appropriateness. And then perhaps an elementary book might be put into the more violence, you know, war and that kind of stuff, that went to the middle school. I appreciated Mr. Smith allowing you to read that, although as hard as it is to listen to that. I don't, and I'm speaking because I don't think this is going to be something that we vote on. I'm hoping it will just be taken out. But the districts that allow it to stay in, but yet they won't let citizens read what's in it, to me seems very hypocritical. So, you know, as hard as that is to hear that, you know, I appreciate you doing that, Mr. Smith. We can't know everything that's in there. And I appreciate, you know, you taking a look at this. But the content and this book going in 2013, which was before our time, you know, I don't know that we have the time or money to have, you know, investigations, but when it comes to our attention, and there have been other things that have come to our attention that we've been able to take care of, that we've deemed to be inappropriate, and not everything comes up for a vote. So I just wanted to throw that in there because again, I'm not sure when it would be appropriate to speak on this topic again, unless it becomes, there is a policy. You can find a policy and go through to get a book removed. There's this whole thing about getting petition with a couple names and then, you know, board and that kind of thing. But again, I'm hoping it doesn't come, it's just me speaking, obviously, but I'm hoping it doesn't come to that. But yeah, I appreciate when that's brought to our attention. So, thank you.
That policy was redone in 19.
Yes, 19.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because, yeah, we
2009.
redid that policy. Yeah. So it's a current policy and I think I just reread it and seemed good to me.
May I just respond in reference to when I became aware that this book was in our circulation? I attempted to check it out, but your son had already checked it out. So I respectfully allowed him to take the book because I thought, well, you know, maybe I should be reading the book first. So I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. And again, I would encourage you that if you would have reached out to me as a parent to either myself or Dr. Deshawn, we also would have listened to you as well, but I appreciate you coming this evening, expressing your concern, and we will definitely look into it. And as Mrs. Harold has indicated, I mean, there's certain books that our media specialists know because they're out there and there's titles and we know that they are simply not included in our circulations. However, from time to time, and that's when I said, well, when was this book purchased? It's been in our collection since 2013, but it's been brought to our attention and we will address it. It's you.
Oh, no,
Probably not.
yeah, we got to close
I'll
out.
talk to you
Yeah,
afterwards.
but yeah, there'll be a time.
Dr. Sternheim, again, I agree with both of you. I just wish there was some way, and again, I know we can't know everything. But in doing some research this afternoon after you and I talked, when I Googled inappropriate material for high school students, I just Googled it. That book came up as the most controversial book challenged in 2022.
Oh, okay,
So,
there you go.
wow. But I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, the fact that I could find that in 10 seconds, like, I just would think that and Virginia just passed a law that all high school books that have any sexual content in them are gonna have to be listed on the website. So I just think, and again, I'm not suggesting we make new laws, but I just wish there was a way that we could be more aware. Like, I find it shocking that book's been in the library since 2013. And, that was under my tenure when I was in Dr. DeShong's position. So, I feel like there just must be some way to.
Well, I believe that through conversations with the media specialists, they tend to have more of an awareness, and then things are like, it moves in cycles, like, you know what I'm saying? So ultimately, this book has been in circulation, but it became problematic in 2022 because who discovered it, and it's not necessarily our learners or your children saying, hey, we have to, work through the process. I know there's been information out there with graphic, when I talk about graphic novels, not inappropriate graphic, but like they're almost like cartoon books for students. And there've been some in our circulation for even Scholastic on the elementary level. A number of years ago, there was one that was very inappropriate. And fortunately, one of our librarians caught it before even it would have been available for purchase for our students. So, but it's definitely a work in progress, but we'll continue to work with you.
Thank you. And now we move to, we have a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn.
All right, then I'll second it.
All right. Who second? Who second?
Ms. Sullivan.
Oh, okay, all right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You're
Okay.
set, get out of here.
Thank you.
Talk to me.
I tried.